yesterday evening, I worked up this little chap. And what I really wanted from this one was for him to not look quite as neat and put together as some of the crocheted sheep that I'd seen before. I wanted a little bit more of a realistic look, but also a little bit more of a scruffy look. And that's because I actually know sheep, which is such a weird sentence, but I do. My parents have a small holding with sheep, and they are cute, but they are also messy and pushy or aloof, depending on the time of day and whether they think you might give them something to eat. And they've just got real little characters, and I really wanted that to come across. And I thought, well, what I could do is bundle up chains basically to make this lovely, slightly scruffier effect for the wool. And I'm just going to quickly show you how I did that. So this is the colour that I used for the face and that you'll see underneath for the body. And that's just to give it a bit of contrast. And this is the colour that I used for the wool. So what we're going to do is make a chain. So we're going to cast on. So that's wrapping the yarn around your finger to make this little loop, popping your hook through there, pulling it nice and tight. Now what we're going to do is make a chain. So that's where you just pick up and pull through. Most of you, if you're watching this video, you'll be completely familiar with a chain. And what I do for this is I try to make a chain as long as I can bear to chain for. And depending on what's on the TV in front of me or what my mood is, that will be somewhere between 60 and 200 loops long for the chain. Make a short one for this demo. And then you're going to take your hook and you're going to go through the second loop there, and you're going to single crochet all the way back down this chain. As you go along, what you'll find is the material that you're making at the other side is going to curl up. Now, those of you who've made blankets in the past, that can be a frustrating thing. But fortunately in this, that is exactly what we want. And the cotton that we're using as a yarn really holds the shape nicely, which is ideal for wanting to make a sheep. And I know that is mildly ironic, because you would think that what you'd want to make sheep's wool out of was wool. But the reality is that when we make wool yarn, we brush and brush and wash and brush again and card and turn the natural wool material into something that is just leagues softer and smoother than the actual wool on a sheep is. And I don't know how many of you have rubbed a sheep's head, but it feels coarse and it's very static. It's not fluffy and flowy. It's a harsh, firm material. I mean, it feels nice, but it's not this sort of cotton wool style thing that we've come to associate with toys. And I do like a little bit of realism in my crochet, you know, rainbow dragons aside. So here we go, right, so we've put our stitches back into the chain, we've made a little curl, and as you can see I can manually make this curlier if I want to. And what we're going to do is attach that onto our little sheep's behind. So you can see that's where I finished off last night. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut off this yarn, and I'm going to slip stitch into the original first starting chain and pull up there. There we go. That's your little curl. And we're going to attach your little curl onto your sheep by attaching a tapestry or yarn needle. The most important thing about the needle is that it's not particularly sharp and it's wide enough for your yarn to go through the end. And what we're going to simply do is take the end of this, find a gap, and when we attach it on, I do try and find a place that's going to be slightly obscured by the previous ones, wool, bits of hair. I'm going to stick our needle through there, you can see that, and pull it out a couple of stitches to the side, doesn't matter where exactly. Just pull that out. Lovely stuff, don't worry about that end for now, we can pull that in later. And then you're going to curl up your curl and you're going to decide how to place it. What I want with this is to have really good coverage So each strand that I put in, I'm going to place in such a way that obscures most of this skin tone underneath. So for this one, you can see that the end is going to be here. So I'm going to pop that needle back into the body and pull it out at the point that I want the end of that strand to land. There we go. Pull that across to there. So you can see that's stuck itself into that gap. Poke the needle through and tighten. Now you can go across your sheep or the hair on the head of a doll or whatever it is that you're making at that point and weave in and out and really, really tightly secure all of this, this fabric of the wool onto the body. And if you're making this as something that a kid's going to play with an awful lot, I would recommend stitching on more rather than fewer because it's less likely to come unravelled at the end. But if this is just mostly decorative or going to be played with by a sort of gentle older child, then you don't need to worry so much about that. But yes, so just for the purposes of this demonstration, I've attached that on there. And now we just want to make it sure that it's secured in the right place. We're going to go back into the body. Now I'm going to pull it right out somewhere that hasn't got any wool yet, so I can see how well that's attached in. There we go, that's nice and firmly in place. In order to hide this little string, you can attach your yarn needle, or what you can do is get a really small sized hook, bring it through the body and out near where that loose end is. Not sure if you can see that, and hook it through. Now it's a fiddly thing to do because this hook is not designed to pick up yarn that thick, but it also means that you're not going to damage the integrity of the toy that you're making. And there we go, you pulled your loose end through, and you can either disguise that with more of the wool, or you can then push it back into the body again to hide the loose end. So I'm going to work up the rest of this, and I'll come find you again when our little sheep friend is finished. And here we have it. The woolly sheep is finished. A lovely, scruffy, very sheep-like, but still cute and curly coat. You can find the full pattern for this on the Lucy Kate Crochet website. And as I said, any questions at all, just give me a shout and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Happy crocheting!